Hey, how's everybody doing? So I got these. I got these from Bridge. This grass. If you go to if you go to Bridge and you'll go to free, and then free, you have 3D plants, and whichever one was the free one in free is the grass that I got here. So I downloaded the 4K resolution pack. You know, it's actually it's actually 3D grass, and it's also billboards. Billboards being for the ground cover grass, like the 2D grass. You know, the picture is just a picture of grass, but it looks like 3D grass. You know what I'm saying? So they got a lot of different. They got a lot of different ones in here because these like for Unreal 5 uh, and uh, whatever else they use them in. But we can use most of them. And I was going to I was going to convert them all to DDS and do that, but now I see there's so many in here. We'll get, we'll do the bump map, the ambient occlusion, the albedo, the gloss, the normals, the opacity, the roughness. Now, if you're doing the roughness, then you wouldn't use specularity. If you're not doing PBR, then you would use the specularity, but we'll go ahead and get them all. The translucency, we'll just copy them all. And we'll go to the level that we're working on now. And in the folder for the levels T, ground models, that's the ground models, art, grass models. I guess I can paste them in here. No, you know what? Better yet. Let me make a new folder called Groundcovers. That way. So we'll paste them in here. Now, if you pay attention to this here, this has got 4 different slots. So you can have up to 4 different types of grass from just one image. So we'll load up the level, and you'll have to excuse the mess. I am in the middle of working on it. It's in a rough state. It only looks okay if you look at it from just one particular angle. Yeah, I'm just trying to sort out what's going to be what. I haven't quite. It's going to end up being a lot bigger project than what I thought it was going to be. Because instead of just making a jump or two, I'm going to actually try to make a track in with it also. I finally made my first tree, my polygon tree that looks like a tree and not a pile of shit. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I spent about a good 3 hours on that tree. I know how to do them better now. It's usually how it is. You make something crappy, then you make something a little bit better than crappy, and then, you know, the more you do, the more you're like, oh, well, I could do this, I could do that. And before you know it, you're making trees as good as the developers. And I'm still way off from that. I like take a course on low poly tree modeling or something, you know. But those are my trees that I made. They're really low poly. They have LOD management and stuff. So we'll go over here where there's nothing, and we'll go into the material editor. So we got to make a material first for your new ground cover. So we'll just call this grass is already taken. Grass. well, grass 2. Create. Alright, now we'll switch to PBR. And we can open the asset browser and go to that folder and drag and drop all this stuff. So you can tell this to show you a two-dimensional plane that'll be representative of what the grass in the game looks like. So the albedo is the base color. The opacity is the opacity. But to trigger the opacity, got to do alpha clip. Let's get this a little bigger. You can see a little better. They're pretty high quality, like 4K, so the normals go to the normals. I'll put the gloss in a metallic. Not really quite sure that that's a good one for that. Let's see, ambient occlusion would be the ambient occlusion. Let's get up real close. You want to get the alpha clip. You want to get it so that you're not eating away too much of the grass, but you're also getting away enough of the fringe. Which they done these so well, it just takes a little, just a tiny bit of alpha clip. Sometimes I'll stick the normals in the detail normals, but just all depends. I mean, I think they look alright. The one they use for the bump map, I'll put that sometimes in the base color detail map, since it's like a high pass filter look, and that'll give it a little more detail. Sometimes it makes it look worse, like in that case. Oh, the roughness, I forgot the roughness. I put that in there. Now we can adjust the roughness amount. You can see how get it what you think looks good. The amount of roughness that you think it needs. I do 2 times the amount of normals. Now, I believe, if you really wanted to, you could use you could make it somewhat transparent using the transparency map, or translucent map. But what that's going to do is going to force you to have to use alpha blend mode, like pre-multiply alpha or lerp alpha. And alphas don't do right when they're front on top of one another. They just start looking weird. So I don't like using that. Not for this. So let's save. And now let us go to our ground covers. So we'll just there's not any in here now, I don't believe. Vegetation. Grass. Well, there's already one in there. But we're making another one. I don't even know what that one went to. So we'll make a new one. Actually, we can just... better make a new one. Create. Ground cover. And click on the ground. Right? And once you click on the ground, you can hit escape. That's your ground cover 1. You can name it by just naming it. Then you got to go to the inspector window, and the material would be the new grass that you just made, the texture. Now, if you go to types and open this up, you see there's nothing here because you haven't set it yet. In your material painter, your terrain painter library, you got your different paints, that you're using, like green grass, for example. So if we want that to show up on green grass, we need to go and put that in here where we tell it layer green grass. And then you got the different sizes and all the different stuff, but then you should be able to adjust the grid size and see your grass appear. Now here's the thing. There's like a bug in this thing that's been here since the day I started messing with this thing. So just hit save. Now reload to low, and it'll be correct. I could see why nobody really wants to mess with the grass when you got to. If you don't know that, you'll know that now you got it fixed. You just have to restart. See, there's our grass. So you wouldn't know that if you wouldn't have known that. You'd be sitting there all day trying to figure out how to get that grass to show up, and you'd be there all day until you reset, save and reset. It won't update. Hopefully they'll get that fixed one day, or I'll learn how to do it the right way if I'm doing it the wrong way. Now the next thing is this tiling here. So pick your ground cover that you're working on, right? And go back to the inspector. And then you'll see in here billboard UVs. Now this, I can't tell you exactly which way does what. Oh, I forgot. They made this thing a lot easier now. Oh, man. I forgot about that. Yeah, all you got to do is click on this little box here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put this around the one that you want to use. Right? And say OK. And that's how you do that. Now, if you want to have a different variety of the same grass, since there's 6 of them in there, you would say, okay, well, the other one also be in green grass, but this one, I want you to be this one. And then the number 2 here, and this one will be do that, it's gonna mess it up. That'll be alright. Alright, we'll go to the other one. So we'll get a nice variety. And all gonna be the same texture. You might have to adjust them, but now they're all set. Now the next thing is probability. This is between 0 and 1. 1 being 100% possible, 0 being not a chance in hell. So 0 would mean it's not going to draw any of them. But if you put them all to 1, they'll all be equally as possible to draw. It's a possibility you could see any of them is what I'm trying to say. So now the next thing is, why is that one still like that? Okay. Did I not do this to one of them? I might not have hit OK. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I forgot that one. Alright. So the next thing is how many elements. How many? So let's say a good 25,000. And how far are they going to show up in the distance is the next thing. How far do you want them to draw? Now, it's not uncommon to have 500,000 of these elements. I mean, I've seen it on other levels. It's not uncommon at all. For that thing to have a lot of variety, it sure doesn't look like it. All look like the same one to me. Maybe they can't all be one. Maybe one's got to be 0.8 and one's got to be 0.4 and point. I guess everything can't be all one. If it's all of it's all one, then that means, I don't know, it means something. Maybe 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 would be a good thing for all of them. That'll still look the same to me. They'll all look the same to you too, don't they? Because they are all the same. No, they're not. No, they are different. I see now. There is some variety to them. So how far they draw is going to affect your performance. So it's up to you when you want them to start to appear, how close you want to be. This is just the default settings. Now the dissolve radius is when it starts to dither out. You probably wouldn't want it to dither out like that, where it's like really, you know, you'd want it to dither out at a distance that you got enough radius left over for it to dither out at and not start to look bad. But like I said, the farther away you make this, also the less dense it'll be. So if we make this just 100 distance away, and you see they're a lot more densely packed grasses. If I went to 200, there'd be half as many in the same amount of area. All right, the grid size, I don't mess with that. I don't mess with any of this stuff really. What I will mess with from time to time is the size minimum maximums and the clump amounts. Clumping is like a clump of something. You can adjust this in real time and kind of give you an idea what the clumping's doing. It'd be better to do that if you just got one thing selected and not all of them. Just do it like this so you can see. Yeah. Don't like it's doing anything, does it? Oh, minimum clump, max clump. Oh, that's got probability 0. No wonder I ain't seeing it. Alright, so now you can see what clumping is doing. There's my GPU fan going. One time I was messing with these things, and I don't know, I must have put a crazy number in there because it locked up and it never damn loaded the level again. It kept giving me some error. It said there was too many elements on screen or something. Keep grabbing the wrong one. So yeah, that's what the clumping does. And the next thing is the wind. If you want it to look like, different wind, you can do that easily. Let's make more elements so we can see better. Let's change the time of day so we get a little more, like better, like sunlight hit them, kind of. There we go. Now, the wind, gust frequency, gust length. How frequent does the wind gust? When it does gust, how strong does it gust? Wind gust frequency less often, more often. So that's what the length is, how long each one of those are apart. We think of it like ocean waves. Right. Then the next thing is the turbulence. Turbulence is the rapid shaking back and forth that it's doing when it's not being gust. So the strength for that, you can see it's the strength, and the frequency is how rapid they'll shake. The direction is, of course, the direction. Like you can go one way or go the other way, or you have one in both of them, or zero in both of them. Zero, there's no way. Like 0.2, 0.5, 0.1, minus 0.1. But yeah, and you can have some be smaller and some be larger than others. 0.2. I'd always say bring your car here. It's a good idea to have your car around when you do this so you can get an idea how big you're making that grass. Before you know it, you'll be making Alice in Wonderland grass. Look like grass is too big. But that's pretty much it as far as the grass goes. I thought let's go back to the material. Let me pull the material up again. The one we made for that grass, green, grass 2, whatever. Double-sided. Double-sided means you can see the back side and the front side. Well, it receives shadows and cast shadows, but I think that's handled differently. Let me save this. If you ever just want to change the tint of the grass, because it's like too green or not green enough, you can just adjust the color here in the base color. If you want to go for a more realistic or more artificial looking green, or maybe you want to do something kind of like a, you know, man, you can do that. You can do whatever. But that's where you would do that at. You would just adjust it in here. And then save. Don't forget to save when you're done. But yeah, I think the shadows are supposed to be handled in there and here. Yeah, shapes cast shadows. But I think that's talking about the 3D meshes. If you put a 3D mesh in there with it, don't put a 3D mesh in here with a 2D mesh. Don't do right. They'll start flickering really bad. You don't want to do that. You put them in their own category aside from this. Like if you were doing 3D objects, you wouldn't even use this one. You'd make a new one. Let me cut these back a bit. I'll show you what I mean here. Max elements, just put 100,000. And we'd probably get, let's see here, that'd be alright. Alright, so we'll save. Now, let's put a 3D element in there. That's fine. You can do that. Go to material. Go to here and create a new ground cover. And left click and hit escape. And in this one, name it Small Rocks. Small rocks already exist in the scene. Choose another name. Alright, inspector window for our small rocks. Shape file name. Go to your object or your 3D mesh. Pick the DAE, hit open, and there they go. And of course, you got the probability, you got the size minimum, size maximum. You have some small, some big, whatever. Of course, these don't get affected by the wind, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, the shadow just has to do with the shadow for that. And you can put how many of them there are and how far they draw away from the camera. But be careful, it'll eat up that performance quick. You got too many in there. It will eat it up. Now, you see them rocks are disappearing kind of quickly. That has to be done with the shape cull radius. this is a shape, a 3D shape, and it's getting culled at 75 meters. So if you want it to be farther away, that it culls it and put like 250 meters, and then it'll cull it 250 meters away. And just be mindful. The farther away something culls, the more performance. Which I don't see nothing happening on here as far as my performance goes. But I mean, people get crazy with this stuff, and that's where it starts to eat away when you get crazy with the numbers. Um, Trying to think. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I thought it was only supposed to put it. I guess it's putting it on every single layer until you tell it a specific layer, which is kind of weird. I would have thought it would have put it on just the one you put the name in here. Okay, so now it's only on dirt. So when I paint dirt, I get rocks. Alright, so yeah, you just gotta tell it which ones to be on, or it's gonna be on all of them. Makes sense? Like, if I want them to draw on rocks 3, then I would tell it rocks 3. If I want it to draw on rocks 3 and grass 2, or grass, what did I call it? Green grass. Got to have some kind of something, I think. Yeah, I don't know what to put. I'm not sure what the hell you put to put 2 in there. You just have to do it on another. You just have to make another one like that. Tell that one to be on your. Oh, probability. No, remember, only the first one will have 1. The rest of them will have 0. So you don't forget to put your probability on the ones. Them rocks are big, ain't they? Size minimum 0.2 and 0.5. Size minimum 0.3 and 0.4. There we go. Yeah, I'm not using that. I'm just showing you how to do that. And you can pretty much put any DAE in there. I mean, whatever you want to put in there, you can pretty much put in there. I don't have any more objects. Well, I got this metal wall. But you're not going to really want to see that on here. Yeah, a little metal wall there. Yeah, so you can have anything mixed in with it. But I believe that's it, folks. I'm gonna work on this level some more. But I gotta say, I've made grass better than that. I took a picture of real grass and cut out the background, and it looked better. It looks like any other game grass to me. But anyway, I'll work on this later. So y'all have a good one. Good day.